palm reading of a female whose age is 39 years old. She has had few problems in her relationship, so we would be talking about those particular aspects and the good as well as bad lines in her palm. Out here we would be taking a look at the left hand as well as the right hand. It is generally said that for females the left hand is important, but in my case I give more importance to both the hands to arrive at the conclusion. So one by one, I will try to mark the things that I see out here. The first thing that I see out here is the head and the lifeline. It has got a major gap in the middle. Whenever there's a major gap in the middle, there's space in the middle, the person is likely to be rash, outgoing, and never missing out on opportunities. Now, these things can change as well. If there's circumstances which are difficult, that can make the person more cautious. But in general, the basic what the person is born with, the person is born with this particular quality. And the person would act first and then basically think about it. So this is one aspect to it. The other aspect is that you would notice somewhere out here and here, these two areas on the line of head. This is the line of head. You would notice that there's a break out here on the headline out here and the headline out here. So this portion where the break out here is around the age of 35, 36, and this portion is before the age of 35. So if this point is age 35, how we calculate the age? The way to calculate is, this is the line of money and this is the line of head and this is the heart line. So the intersection of the money and the headline is age 35, intersection of the heart and the money line is age 53. So this portion of the headline is before the age of 35. So if this point is age 35, so this point is likely to be around the age of 30. That's the approximate age, I would say. So you would notice that there is certainly a breakout here. I'm just going to zoom in further so that you can basically see it much more clearly. I'm also going to darken the image a little bit so that you can see much more clarity in the line. Now this is the line that I'm referring to. There's a breakout here, something like this. And few lines are kind of pointing towards the area of Mars positive. They may originate on the Mars positive and join the headline, or they may just point towards the area of Mars positive. The meaning is going to remain the same. And these lines are sometimes referred to problems in one's relationship, sometimes divorce, sometimes it could just plain simple mean some fight or the other that is leading to divorce, or some problem other than divorce as well can also be depicted by these problem lines. There's also a break on the headline. You would notice somewhere out here. So if this is age 35, so this point is after the age of 35, somewhere closer to the age of 35, around the age of, let's say, 36 or 37. She already is 39, so this we have to take into account. So there could have been major problems that the person may have faced. Now, apart from some negative aspects, the good aspect on the headline is that this is age 35. There's a problem line that is coming out here and touching the money and the headline. So money as well as finances as well as thought process gets affected at the age of 35. Beyond that, the upward motion of the headline is considered to be good. It is something like, I'm just going to correlate it to something. So I was talking about this upward line that you see out here, and we try to correlate this to a woman basically standing. Okay, so this is how it is. So the fingertips is basically the head. The lower portion of the palm is basically the earth and gravity. The upper portion is the head and the sky. So what happens is that if there is upward motion of the headline, it means upliftment of the mind. books of palmistry basically they mention that upward line is found in the hands of an author. Not, but in my case what I say is that not every person can become an author, so we don't have to think in that particular way. And the thing is, 1 minute, sir, 1 minute, 1 minute. So what happens is basically when there is, so upward moving line is also always considered to be good. Although there is a breakout here, that's basically negative. That the age I've already mentioned, it's a negative aspect. And now we move on to the other aspect, and that is the line of heart. Now this is the line of heart. In the starting portion, there are a few branches, something like this. So this is a good sign. It relates to love for children. So this is a good sign. Some people they may have a mixture of lines. They may just have a simple line. That means that the person may not love children. They just are normal with them. But out here, love for children increases, and the children are also going to love such a person. Now you would notice that there's a breakout here. There's a breakout here, and there's also a breakout here. You would notice. And apart from these breaks, there are a few branches over the heart line. Branches over the heart line basically means attachment. Attachment bring in expectations. Expectations are generally not fulfilled. That is the reason why disappointment may creep in. The break on the heart line could mean an abrupt ending in a relationship or a partnership. So there are two breaks that we see out here, and generally it is said that how we calculate this is 0 age, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. This is how the book says. But in my case, what I do is that if I find a break on any portion of the heart line, I would say that it's just a tendency that may erupt any given moment of time. So this is the way basically I say. Now the good part about the heart line is that it is kind of targeting and ending under the mount of Saturn. This is the mount of Saturn. This is the mount of Jupiter. It is always better to have a shorter heart line, because if a person does have a short heart line, it basically indicates to that the person is realistic, grounded, the person knows the ground situations very well, the person values money, the person respects money, the person would be able to accumulate money in their life. So in that way, it is a good sign. Supposing if the heart line was long, then the person would have been extremely touchy about things. The person would be very idealistic, very sensitive, and those people are likely to get more hurt. Now, even she might say that she gets very, very hurt. The reason could be because towards the end, there is a curvature in the heart line. Whenever there's a curvature in the heart line, it basically signifies that the person basically is temperamental. The person may be expressive with their emotions and may not keep their emotions in check. And the person may also cry at times. So crying doesn't mean that the person is more emotional. The person is realistic, but the person is just expressing their emotions in a much more clear way, and they're more expressive with their emotions. Now, every hand does have some positives as well as negatives. There are a few positive as well as negatives in her hands as well. This is the lifeline. Now, it's always better not to have any branches moving outward from the lifeline. Those are basically negative lines, and they could lead to health loss or wealth loss or problems in one's personal life. And at the same time, there are a few lines that are kind of pointing towards the Jupiter area and joining either the lifeline or they are joining the headline, something like this. Both of these are considered to be good, and these are in the earlier portion of one's life. So these are the lines of reaching to a higher position in life, reaching a respectable position in their life. So these are very, very good lines to have. And the effect of these lines, basically, they remain throughout one's life, not necessarily for 1 or 2 or 3 years only. Now, there's also a supporting lifeline. Supporting lifeline basically protects that particular person from difficult people and difficult situation. She also has got many lines out here, crisscrossing lines out here, many crisscrossing lines out here. So this is the area of Mars negative, and this is the area of planes of Mars. So having more lines on the planes of Mars makes it basically brings about the person may be the temper of that particular person may increase if there are more lines over the area of planes of Mars. And it's always better to have less lines out here. So this is almost the center of the palm, and in the center of the body basically it's our stomach. So our stomach can also get affected if there are more lines crisscrossing. Let's see, there should be only basic lines crossing over. Basic lines are something like just the headline and the lifeline and the money line. So this is what a normal person should have. Having more lines out here does create disturbances, does create blockages in some way or the other in our life, and it takes up the important portion of our life from us. So it's better to come out of any issues. If the person is facing, try to come out of those issues as soon as possible, and that's how the person can lead and save the important portion of their life. More lines over the area of Mars negative means the anger and aggression is misguided, and the person may get angry over wrong issues. So that's a negative sign. This portion of the money line till it reaches the headline is age 35, and beyond that is 35 to age 53. Then there's another line, basically it starts somewhere close to the age of 40, and that basically continues and ends on the Mount of Saturn. So the meaning attached to it is basically, first I would talk about the earlier portion and then the later portion. The earlier portion is this particular portion before the age of 35. You would notice few lines kind of pointing towards the area of Mars negative. There are many lines there kind of pointing towards the area of Mars negative, all before the age of 35. See, when the lines of the branches on the money line point towards the area of Mars negative, the money is going to get wasted. Now, money can get wasted either in terms of wastages, or sometimes there's problems in marriage. So our money gets invested in wrong issues, and so it's getting wasted or it's getting burned for no reason. This is what it is. Somewhere at this particular point, a line kind of joins the main money line. So it is joining somewhere close to the age of 42. So benefits may come during that particular portion of life, and another line basically starts initially it starts at the age of 44. It's weak, but as it progresses around the age of 49, 50, it becomes strong, and that basically takes the major thing. It becomes the major line in one's life, and good finances can be expected. Even this line is not so bad from the age of 44 till the age of 53. So there would be a changeover that may be happening around the age of between the age of 48 till the age of 53. The quality of the sun line is basically reasonably okay in the earlier portion, but it kind of vanishes between the age of 35 till the age of 53. After the age of 53, the quality of the sunline improves, and whenever the quality of sunline is good, the person can expect good career prospects can be expected. And there are also many perpendicular lines over the area of Mount of Mercury. Now, Mount of Mercury is the area of skill and calculations, and wherever I find this kind of a formation, I always say the person is likely to be successful. This area is the area for skill, calculations, communication, and skills can be of any kind. It can be engineering, it can be medical, it can be computer, it can be coding, it can be social media networking, or any other. It can be law, it can be physics. So the person is able to document things in a much better way. And these perpendicular lines, multiple perpendicular lines means multiple set of skills can be expected in her. So because she has these lines, the chances for her success increases, because these days skills is required. If you have skills, you can be successful. Even this long line that you see out here, even this is the line of Mercury and this is the line of skill. So in all, I would say the hand is good. Briefly, I would just take a look at the left hand also. This particular line I've already mentioned, it is appearing to be much more clear in this particular hand image. It's a beautiful line. The sun line is very, very good, and the Mercury line is good. So what else do you require for success? These are the lines that you require for success, and you have these particular lines to be successful. I would just move to the left hand briefly, choosing the best image that we have out here. So this is the best image. So in the left hand and right hand, there are similarities. This is the 35 portion before the age of 35. So the money line does have these branches. So these are negative lines. There's line basically kind of crossing the main line also. That may also not be the best. Then the money line ends at the age of 35 and a new one develops around that particular age. And then there, beyond the age of 35, we do see 2 or 3 parallel lines running close to each other. So parallel sources of income can be expected. The sun line is good out here. I've already mentioned the heart line is ending on the Mount of Saturn, that I've already mentioned. It's a good sign. There's a gap in between the head and the lifeline. Rash, outgoing. There's an inward moving line, something like this. This may not be the best, but this portion of life the person has already gone past by. And see, Mars area, there's nothing wrong with this particular planet Mars, but a line should not originate something like this and join something like this. That would bring lots of fire, and it can disturb that particular person. So even in the initial period of life, you would notice that there are many lines kind of pointing towards the area of Jupiter. These lines are the lines for position and honor, respect, and all these kind of things can be expected. I would just say try to remain committed, try not to get distracted, because there are few branches over the heart line that would bring some amount of problems, but the problems are not going to be grave just because you have these lines, because many people have these kind of lines. It's just that I'm comparing your hand to the best possible hand, the perfect hand. This is what I'm comparing. So it's not as bad as I might have explained to you, but certainly we can work upon ourselves to reduce the anger, anxiety, stress, and if we are able to control the chances of we leading a perfect life basically increases. And lastly, one or two things I would add, and then I would end the video. On the headline, these upward lines, one is happening around the age of 34-35, this is happening around the age of 36-37. So these are good. And I also think there appears to be an island. I'm not very sure and certain if there's an island. Island basically either can create mental disturbances, or it can create some kind of stomach related issues can also be expected with these. So health also needs a little bit more care. Towards the end of the headline, it's moving a little bit upward. So movement of the headline upward is generally considered to be good. It means upliftment of the mind, something good happening even towards the end of your life. So I would just end the video out here. I do thank you for watching this video. Bye and take care.